After seeing how many of you enjoyed the Liberty City mod, I decided to take things a step further and make it even better. And you guys gave me a ton of awesome ideas in the comments of the last video. If you don't know what this mod is yet, you should definitely check it out first to get caught up. But for now, let's jump right in. First off, let's talk about what I think is one of the most important upgrades, bringing back GTA 4's iconic handling physics. There are a few mods that try to do this, but the one that really stands out is called Drive 5 by Permission to Land. He spent over 5 years and more than 2,000 hours fine-tuning the physics and testing it to make every vehicle feel unique. And honestly, it's incredible. For example, heavier cars like the Emperor now have a slight delay between when you steer and when the car actually reacts. It gives it that authentic 70s Cadillac vibe, soft, heavy, and not exactly quick to respond. Trucks and buses finally feel like the massive rigs they are, and you can really feel the weight. On the other hand, sports cars have stiff suspensions and snappy handling, which feels so much better than the floaty physics from 4. And the attention to detail here is crazy because, for example, taxis have less precise steering and weaker brakes compared to police cars, reflecting the wear and tear you'd expect from high-mileage vehicles. Another big improvement with Drive 5 is how it increases the force of vehicle damage. Crashes now feel much heavier and more impactful, with damage levels that are much closer to 4. Now, one important thing to note here is that the mod only covers GTA 5 vehicles, so it doesn't change the handling of cars driving around Liberty City. But the cool part is that according to one of the authors, the cars in Liberty City already have handling closer to GTA 4. So with this mod, you now get force handling on almost all the vehicles in the game, no matter where you're driving. Another important thing is that this mod works alongside the inverse power script. It adds a little boost to your car when it's sliding, so there's an actual sense of power in cars that should have it. Muscle cars, for example, now realistically burn out their tires when you accelerate quickly. So now, with Drive 5 and inverse power running together, driving in GTA 5 feels closer to 4 than ever before. Next up, let's talk about another mod I added to make the game feel even more immersive, the GTA 4 carjacking. This one brings back that classic carjacking mechanic we all remember. If you aim a gun at someone while they're in their car, they'll actually get out and raise their hands. Most pedestrians in the game react this way, but not everyone. Some will still try to run you over to keep things interesting. And it's not just about carjacking. If you aim your weapon at someone on foot, they'll throw their hands up too, just like in the previous installment. It's such a great feature, and honestly, it's kind of weird that Rockstar decided to abandon it in the first place.
Hello there! When I say you suck, I mean you really suck.
But there's more when it comes to bringing back features from GTA 4, and another great one is made possible with the 4-style exit vehicle mod. The way it works is super simple. It lets you keep the engine of your vehicle running when you step out, but if you hold down the exit key, the engine will shut off. And honestly, this is yet another feature I feel should have been kept in 5. It's nice to have that choice. Whether you want to keep the engine running for a quick getaway or turn it off to save gas. Well, not literally, but you know what I mean. And the list doesn't stop there because there's no way I could skip mentioning a mod I recently talked about in one of my videos, the GTA 4 drive-by animation. I'm sure a lot of you missed that badass drive-by animation from 4, where your character hangs out the side window of the car while shooting at enemies. And well, thanks to this mod, we can now have it in 5. The mod works really well, but there are a few things to keep in mind. Right now, it only works for standard vehicles and the right passenger seat, and the aiming can feel a bit off since GTA 5 doesn't allow full 180-degree seat movement like GTA 4 did. Also, sometimes the animation clips through the car roof. That said, it's still awesome to see this feature back in the game. It's something I didn't realize I missed until I saw it in action again. It just feels right for drive-bys. Now let's talk about textures, specifically road textures. Even though I'm using the HD version of the Liberty City Preservation Project, the roads don't look drastically different from the original, and that's where the Liberty City Road Overhaul mod comes in. If you've ever modded GTA 4, you might recognize these textures. They're actually from the DKT-70 road texture mod, which has now been ported from 4 to 5. And yeah, I know some of you might not love the change, since it replaces the heavily worn, cracked roads and pavements with cleaner, almost freshly paved ones in some areas. But honestly, I think it looks fantastic. The original author did an amazing job creating these textures for GTA 4, and now that Snoozy has ported them to 5, they really shine on the newer Rage engine. But it's worth mentioning that this mod doesn't replace every single road texture in Liberty City. In 4, some of the road textures were stored in in the GTXD archive, and that's the file most road texture mods replaced. Replacing every road texture across the entire Liberty City map is way more complicated. It would require digging into separate files for every district. And while there are some mods like that for GTA 4, porting them to the Liberty City Preservation Project is a much bigger challenge. But that doesn't mean it won't happen in the future. The good news is that the texture and model names in the Liberty City Preservation Project are the same as in the original GTA 4, which makes porting mods like this much easier. So I'm pretty confident we'll see more texture mods like this popping up eventually. Let me know what you think about these road textures. Do you prefer the original gritty look, or do you like the cleaner, more polished vibe? But the texture improvements don't stop there, because Badass Baboon has also released a brilliant mod called the Definitive Edition for Liberty City. It's still a work in progress, but even in its current state, it replaces a ton of textures and adds some amazing upgrades. The mod replaces textures in a ton of areas, like Hove Beach, Firefly Island, Boabo's Duke's Park, Hatton Gardens Church, Happiness Island, Middle Park West, Vespucci University, Actor Park, and more. And it doesn't just stop at replacing old textures. It uses parallax textures to create a 3D effect on surfaces, even though they're actually flat. This makes everything look way more detailed, and it's such a clever way to improve visuals without killing performance. It also adds grass fur shaders for more realistic grass in locations like Middle Park, Port Tudor, Happiness Island, Outlook Park, Bohan's Wellham Park, and Suffolk Church. Plus, it upgrades all the cobblestone roads in Algonquin with parallax textures and gives HD makeovers to signs around the city. There's a lot going on here, and it all comes together to make Liberty City look absolutely stunning. Alright, so now that we've talked about improving the city's visuals, let's shift back to something just as important: physics. One thing that really stood out in GTA 4 was the ragdoll physics. It was a huge part of what made that game feel so dynamic and unpredictable. But let's be honest, GTA 5 took a big step back in this area. Even though both games use the same Euphoria physics system, it feels like Rockstar toned down the settings, and the results are, well, a lot more boring. The crazy, exaggerated reactions we loved in GTA 4 are just missing, and it makes accidents, shootouts, and other chaos feel way less fun. Luckily, there's a fix for that: Base Dragon's Euphoria Ragdoll Overhaul. This mod doesn't try to make things ultra-realistic. Instead, it focuses on bringing back that over-the-top style we saw in GTA 4, as well as Red Dead Redemption 1 and Max Payne 3. Head-on collisions are much more dramatic now. You can actually see the force of the impact. NPCs react better when they're shot, stumbling and falling in ways that feel way more satisfying. Falling off a building is totally unpredictable again, and jumping out of a helicopter or plane finally brings back that chaotic energy we've been missing. The best part is that you'll notice the changes everywhere. Whether it's car crashes, shootouts, explosions, or just random accidents, the physics feel alive again. NPCs don't just fall stiffly, they collapse in exaggerated, unpredictable ways that make every encounter feel unique, and explosions now send people flying in ways that are just so much more satisfying to watch. Honestly, after playing with this mod for a while, I can't imagine going back to the default physics. It completely transforms how the game feels. Ragdoll reactions were such a big part of what made GTA 4 special, and having them back in 5, thanks to this mod, makes every chaotic moment so much more enjoyable. And of course, what would Liberty City be without Niko Bellic? One of the coolest things about Niko is that he and the protagonists from GTA 5 all exist in the same HD universe. In fact, Niko is mentioned multiple times throughout GTA 5's story.
There was an Eastern European guy making moves in Liberty City, but he went quiet.
So adding him as a playable character doesn't break the game's continuity at all. It just feels right. The best Niko mod out there is made by the NG clan, and let me tell you, it's not just some basic port. His model, along with all his clothes and accessories, has been fully remastered to fit GTA 5's world perfectly, and he looks just as badass as he did in GTA 4. Running around Liberty City as Niko just feels so natural, like it's exactly what he was meant to do. I won't lie though, while exploring the city as Niko, I couldn't shake this slight feeling of unease, like my phone was about to ring and, well, you know what happens next.
Niko, it's Roman. Want to go bowling?
And since Liberty City is based on New York City, I thought it would be a great idea to add the World Trade Center to complete the skyline. And I'm not gonna lie, seeing the tower surrounded by the much shorter buildings of Liberty City is absolutely stunning. But unfortunately, the mod itself isn't perfect, and it's mainly because it wasn't originally created for the Liberty City Preservation Project. It was made for a different map port. And because of that, there are a lot of issues, like some parts of the building flicker, there are clipping problems, and yeah, cars will straight up drive through the building. So it looks like we'll have to wait for a proper mod that's fully designed for the Preservation Project. That being said, I still think we've done a great job improving Liberty City overall with these mods. There might still be some other mods out there worth adding, so if you've got any suggestions, let me know in the comments down below.